Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Anshuman De. These are my teammates Sujal Gupta and Saurabh Sharma. I am delighted to have the opportunity to stand in front of you to discuss the data privacy and its importance and the necessity of data privacy law in India. Without further ado, let's start our presentation. So why we choose this topic and what's the main motivation behind this? Basically, in today's world where our identity and personality is linked to our online activity and our data can be used to manipulate or harm us to people and take their physical privacy and the seriously, but when it comes to the data or digital privacy, they turn their blind eye. Now we are going to discuss about some point of these projects, and these are the points. First point is the data privacy and its importance, and second one is data privacy laws and around the world, and third is India's stance on data privacy, and fourth one is what can we do to protect ourselves. And further proceed towards, we need to know what is data privacy. Data privacy refers to the protection of personal and the sensitive information from unauthorized access or use. This is crucial in an era where digital technologies collect and process the vast amount of the personal data. Now here comes the importance of the data privacy. Personal data can be misused in a number of ways. It can, if it not kept private, or if people don't ability to control how to information is used, they might be in danger. Sale of our personal data without our consent, or for unwanted target advertisement, and the fingerprinting, tracking, and the monitoring people through their online activity. And the third one is the criminal can use the personal data due to depend on the harass users. Here is an example. We already know about that. Recently, source code of the Russian giant Yandex got leaked, which revealed the what type of data they can collect of a billion plus users and what they can determine using the data. Here is a picture. You can determine what they collect from their Russian people, and the scenario of the data structure is that. Now move on to one of the most infamous data privacy mistakes and the Cambridge Analytica scandal. The Cambridge Analytica scandal, which surfaced in 2018, involved the unauthorized collection of the personal data from millions of Facebook users. This data was used to develop targeted political advertisement and influence the voter behavior, and during the 2016 US presidential election and the other campaigns. This breach of the privacy raised the significant and ethical and the legal concern, and leading the investigation and the public outrage, and increased security over the data protection and the online privacy practices of the tech companies. And now come on to the next point, the data privacy law around the world. Data privacy law around the world. In this point, we are talking about the data privacy laws of the developed countries and what can we learn from it. Oh, we apologize. Yeah. Today there are more than 120 countries already engaged in some form of the international privacy laws for data protection to ensure that the citizen and their data are offered more protection or the controls. Now let's discuss about the General Data Protection Regulation, or the GDPR law. We know about that. GDPR is a circular for safeguarding individuals' privacy in digital age, and it has the principles. It has the 7 principles, and the ensuring transparent and the lawful data processing, and the limiting collection and the purpose, specification, accuracy, and the storage, duration, and the integrity and the accountability. And the GDPR finds the substantial with the 2 tiers. Up to 10 million euro, or the 2% of the global annual turnover for the minor violence, and up to 20 million euros, or the 4% global annual turnover for major breaches, and these penalties emphasize the seriousness of the data protection, encouraging the companies to implement the robust security, we also known as the strong security policy, and the measures and the responsible on the data handling practices. Ultimately, this is the enhancing on the consumer trust and the data security process. That's all. Now here comes with the national laws. Let's talk about the national laws. Most of the developed countries have their own set of the laws and the regulations, such as the California Consumer Privacy Act is also known as the CCPA in USA, and the Privacy Act in Australia, and the Personal Information Protection Act, which known as the PIPA in the South Korea. These provide the comprehensive guidelines in the collection on the storage and the sharing user the data. Now move on to the third point. India's strengths of the data privacy. India's strengths of the data privacy. Before the introduction of the Personal Data Protection Bill in the 2023, 2019, India did not have the any comprehensive data protection and the framework like some other countries. And however, there are some certain provisions in place that address data privacy in some extent, like the Information Technology Act 2000 and the Aadhaar Act 2016. But the absence of the comprehensive data protection law, the offended led to the loopholes in the data privacy regulation. Then that's all. Now the turns to the Saurabh Sharma, that's my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, Anshuman. Now I would like to continue with the consequences of lack of robust data privacy law. This includes lack of transparency. As there is no privacy law, big corporations are not required to be transparent about how they collect, use, manipulate our personal data. This makes difficult for individuals to know how their data is being used. Targeted advertising. Corporations use our personal data to target individuals with the advertisements of their interest. Even if the individual has no explicit consent to this forms a negative impact of individual privacy autonomy. Data breach and data discrimination. Corporations are often not adequately protected against the data breach, which leads to unauthorized disclosure of personal data and cause a devastating impact on individuals, such as financial loss, identity theft, as by giving the access of individuals' personal data, they can get denied from loans and employment opportunities. Let's look some real examples of data breach and their consequences. Aadhaar data breach. The largest data breach in India was the Aadhaar data breach in the year 2018, where the government ID database suffered multiple breaches that potentially compromised the record of 1.1 billion registered citizens. In January 2018, the criminal let access to the database for 10 minutes just for ₹500. While in March of the same year, a leak at state-owned utility company allowed anyone to access names and ID number. Despite of the data breach, there were no much legal actions on them due to the absence of data privacy law at that time. Then in the year 2021, there was a MobiKwik breach, which reportedly emerged about a major data breach involving the Indian digital wallet and payment platform MobiKwik. It was alleged that the database containing the personal information of around 100 million users was being sold on the dark web. The database exposed included names, email address, phone number, hash password, their personal details such as credit card information. The breach was concerning because it potentially exposed the sensitive information that could be exploited for identity theft, phishing attack, which means fraudulent practice of sending emails and other messages pretending to be a reputable companies in order to induce individuals to reveal their personal data required by the culprits. At that time of the data breach, India did not have any comprehensive data protection law like the Personal Data Protection Bill, which was still under consideration. Because of this lack of robust the legal framework, there were limited legal mechanisms which impose fines and penalties on companies for the data breach. As a result, MobiKwik managed to avoid any significant legal consequences or fines of the breach, which reportedly encouraged the other companies to follow the similar approach, knowing the consequences will be very minimum. Then comes the Air India breach in May 2021. Air India, the country's national carrier, announced a data breach that impacted approximately 45 lakh passengers. The breach involved personal data including the names, date of birth, contact information, passport details, ticket information and credit card data. The breach affected passengers who had booking between August 2011 and February 2021. Again, the absence of the law at this time, there were no actions and imposing of penalty against the culprit allowed to address the breach without any significant ramification. Misuse of data by Paytm, Flipkart and Zomato were misuse of data. Paytm, Flipkart and Zomato were accused of collecting personal data without users' consent. All the companies, Zomato, Paytm and Flipkart were accused of tracking and sharing user data with the third party without their knowledge. And in March, there was also a misuse of data by Byju's. Byju's has been accused of collecting and using personal data of children without their parents' consent. The company has also accused of using data to target children with advertising. And also in March 2021, there was a very well-known breaching from Domino's by a group of hackers. The threat actor demanded 10 bitcoins, which was around 4.07 crore. For the stolen data, else they claim that they will build a search portal to enable data search for Domino's users. The Personal Data Protection Bill came in 9th of August 2023. It is also known as the Digital Personal Data Protection Act 2023. It is the first comprehensive data protection law in India that was imposed by the Parliament on 9th of August 2023 and will come into force after 18 years of its notification. The DPDP bill defines personal data as information that can be used to identify an individual directly or indirectly. It applies the processing of personal data by both public and private entities, including organizations located outside India. The DPDP bill sets a number of principles for the processing of personal data, which includes lawfulness, fairness, and transparency. Personal data must be processed in a lawful, fair, and transparent manner. Purpose limitation. Personal data must be collected for a specific, explicit, and legitimate purpose and not to further process in a manner that is incompatible with those purposes. The DP data minimization. Personal data must be collected only on the extent necessary for the purpose which it is being processed. Accuracy. Personal data must be accurate and kept up to date. Storage limitation. Personal data must be kept for no longer than necessary for the purpose for which it is being processed. Integrity and confidentiality. Personal data must be protected against unauthorized access, use, disclosure, alteration, and destruction. The DPDP bill also gives individual a number of rights, which includes the right to be informed about the collection and processing of the data, the right to access their personal data, the right to have their personal data corrected and deleted, the right to object the processing of their personal data, the right to data portability. The DPDP bill also established a Data Protection Authority (DPA) to oversee the implementation of law. They provide expert advice on data protection issue and handle complaints laws against the violation of general data protection regulation. Now let us have a view on a bar graph to have an overview that how much does Indian organization spend on cybersecurity. It is seen that in the year 2018, the expenditure was $4.07 billion. Then it increased to $6.87 billion in 2020, and now it is estimated that there will be $15.4 billion in the year 2023. India is almost going to spend $154 billion in the year 2030, and India is almost going to spend around $400 billion in the year 2030. Thank you. Now I would like to call my teammate Sujal Gupta for the further discussion.
Thank you, Saurabh, for such an elegant presentation. I would like to continue the presentation. I am going to talk about the measures we can take to protect ourselves. Let's look at some of the measures we can take to protect our data and in turn ourselves. You may already know some of these, but their importance can't be overlooked. Let's come to our first point. Use strong password. Use strong password. Strong here means big and with special characters, like this. The first, as you can see, the first one is very complex to remember, but it's not very strong. Any computer can crack it within 3 days. Any strong computer. But the second one, it's a long password, 4 random words and easy to remember, but it is very hard to guess. Almost 550 years to crack such a password. So use a big and strong password. And consider using a password manager. We will see in coming slides how you can use a password manager. Also make sure you never reuse your password. Hackers use the password leak in breach and try to use it on other sites. This is how most of the account got leaked in the internet. This is called credential sniffing. Use two-factor authentication. Add an extra layer of security by enabling two-factor authentication. Usually a OTP or an email address. You can usually find option to enable 2FA inside apps or website security settings. For example, this is for Google. Regularly update software. Keep your operating system up to date. Operating system, browser, apps and devices up to date to patch latest security vulnerabilities. Also keep an eye on the news for recent vulnerabilities for popular devices so you can better protect yourself. For example, recently a Windows vulnerability was discovered. If you haven't updated your Windows, it can cause your device to be compromised. Use encryption. Ensure a device and connection use encryption, especially when sharing sensitive contents. Apps like WhatsApp and Signal support end-to-end encryption, as you can see. So no one can intercept the messages or images between sender and receiver, not even the app developer themselves. But apps like Discord or Facebook Messenger don't use end-to-end encryption, so they can see everything in plain text. Be cautious while sharing personal information. We have a tendency to share everything online, what we do, what we eat, where are we going. This, as you can see how this can be misused by someone with malicious intent. Limit your personal information you share and be cautious on social media. Beware of phishing. Phishing means sending a fake email, while spear phishing means sending a targeted email using the data from breaches, etc., like your Aadhaar number, so you find it more legitimate. Always be skeptical of unsolicited emails, messages, or requests for personal information. Always verify any email or messages you receive. And remember, email display name can be spoofed. So there is a arrow under email, a small gray arrow. You can see the original email address, even if the display name is spoofed. Here, how to detect a phishing email. Wait. As you can see, there in phishing emails, there are some typos or some unknown link or some text that induce panic, like your account is breached, click here, or someone accessed your account, click here to see, like this. So always double check those emails. Use privacy settings. Adjust privacy setting on social medias, apps and devices to limit data sharing. Remove any and all unnecessary data sharing settings. For example, some app have these so-called usage tracking, where they collect logs for so-called improving their products, like this, smart features and personalization, etc., etc. This is for Google. This shared device IP, which app you use frequently, your Wi-Fi devices, your Bluetooth devices, etc., which can be used to harm you. Regularly review app permissions. Many apps ask for permission they don't need, like a calculator asking for contact permission, or a camera app asking for, let's say, phone sensors permission. They don't need, like body sensors, magnet sensors. Audit the permission you have granted to app and revoke unnecessary access. You can find the option to revoke under privacy in your phone or PC setting, like this. Use a VPN, virtual private network. Encrypt your internet connection, especially when using public Wi-Fi networks, as anyone with malicious intent can eavesdrop on internet activity. This is called man-in-the-middle attack. This is how it works. A perpetrator or a hacker first create a fake Wi-Fi address, kicks you from your Wi-Fi address. As they are connected to your Wi-Fi address, they kick you, and then you connect to attacker's Wi-Fi, and then all your net data goes through attacker. Here you can see the article from a famous website like in Nullbyte, where they are showing how to flip photos, change images, or inject image into anyone who is connected on that network. So this is a prank, but you can see how malicious it can be if JavaScript code or something else is injected in your browser. Secure a Wi-Fi network. Use a strong password for Wi-Fi network. Always check which device is connected. So if it's unknown, kick them out. Regularly back up your data. Keep a copy of important data in case of data breaches. Check website security. Look for HTTPS symbol and a padlock symbol in your browser. It shows HTTPS, which encrypt your data before sending it to server. So it can't be intercepted in man-in-the-middle attacks. Whereas in case of HTTP, the older version of HTTPS, it sends data in plain text, so it can be easily intercepted. Here's the padlock symbol in Chrome, you can see. Limit location sharing. Only enable location services for app when necessary. In recent Android versions, there's a setting called location only while using the app. Second option. This blocks the permission when you are not using the app. So and prevent tracking in background. Review privacy policies. Understand how your data will be used by reviewing privacy policies of the services you use. before signing up. You may find unnerving clauses you don't realize, but you are agreeing to. Like for example, Snapchat recently changed their privacy policy. Snapchat, they added a clause which allow third parties to collect your data, modify your data, and if they want, they can also sell it. You can see how that can be harmful. They can do anything with your images. Use private browsing modes. Utilize private or incognito mode to prevent cookie and browser history from being stored. Every time you go to any website, there are multiple ads by multiple big corporations like Microsoft, Facebook. They embed a tracking cookie which track you across internet and build your psychological profile to give you targeted ads. To prevent this cookie from being stored, use incognito mode and block third-party cookies. You can find the option while using incognito mode. Clear browser data from time to time as your browser. So this deletes the tracking cookies already stored on your devices. You can see how it's done on Chrome. Avoid public computer for sensitive tasks. Public computers may have malware or keyloggers which can compromise your data, record your password, etc. Secure physical devices. Always secure physical devices with PIN, password or biometric locks. Prefer biometric locks because PIN and password can be cracked. Biometric locks is harder to crack. And don't use face unlock, as it's shown time to time it can be spoofed. Be wary of smart devices. Smart devices record everything even when you are not using them. That's how they detect Hello Google, Hello Siri, and Hello Alexa like this. And even Alexa is accused of listening. Google is also accused of listening, and that data is also reviewed by humans, Google employees, to improve their product. So understand the data this device collect and review their settings. Educate yourself. Stay informed about the current privacy threats and best practices for protecting your data. Like recently, a vulnerability was discovered in WinRAR, the famous RAR and zip app. I am sure many of you use. It allows anyone to create a malicious RAR file or zip file to compromise your device. But they recently released a update to fix that. If you are not sure about, if you don't know about the vulnerability, you can't protect yourself. So it's better to keep following the news on the devices you own, so you can see which vulnerability is here and can be fixed. Let's talk about some tools we can use to protect ourselves. Let's start with VPN. VPN is technology that allows you to stabilize a secure and encrypted connection to a remote server which can act as a middleman between devices and the internet. Like this. First, the VPNs encrypt the devices in your data, send it through the server, and their servers send it to the internet. So outsiders can't read the data. Let's see some advantage of using a VPN. Encryption. As you saw, VPN providers encrypt the data, so it can't be scooped. So malicious entity can't scoop on your data. IP address concealment. It conceal your IP address so big corporations and ISP or government can't track you across the internet, what you do, what website you use, etc. Bypassing geo restrictions, some websites are blocked in India which can be accessed using VPNs. Not only those websites, like Geo recently banned GitHub. You can see if you open GitHub using Geo, it allows website, but it blocks any website on a GitHub repo. सर लास्ट है खाली 3 टॉपिक और VPN और पासवर्ड मैनेजर और वो एडवांटेज एंड डिसएडवांटेज. दोस ब्लॉक्स यूजिंग अ VPN. Anonymous browsing. VPN allow you to browse anonymously without anyone tracking you over the internet. Protecting against online tracking things. Disadvantage. If a VPN server is located far from your live, it can reduce speed as data has to go through their server. Trust in VPN providers. Not every VPN provider is same. So, some VPN providers are located in China, which store every data passing through them. So always choose a good VPN provider. Like as you can see in the screenshot, this is Proton VPN. It's located in Switzerland, where data privacy law is so strong, no country can ask for their data from Proton VPN. Not even use subpoenas, international subpoenas or cyber terrorism, anything. They can't ask. Proton VPN can't provide the data. They don't even keep logs. Compatibility issue. VPNs, every VPN has their own software which may or may not work on every device, like Mac, Apple, Android, Windows, Android. Cost. Free VPNs are free because they collect your data. If you want a good VPN, you have to pay, which can cost anywhere from 500 per month to 1000 rupees per month. Legal and ethical consideration. Using a VPN to bypass geographic restriction or engage in legal activity could raise legal and ethical issues. For example, India recently banned VPN. If you use VPN, Indian government can say you are doing something illegal. So that's the issue. Some popular VPN, NordVPN, Proton VPN, Dashlane, ExpressVPN. I am sure you saw some of them on YouTube videos. And last is 1.1.1.1 RAP. This is not a VPN. This just encrypts your data. So its speed is faster than VPN, but it doesn't conceal your IP. So that's a downside. A password manager. Password manager are tools designed to help user manage and secure their password for various online accounts and services. It automatically generates a secure password and store it, which you can access using a master password, which you can write in your notebook, etc. You can see this is a Bitwarden, one of the most popular password managers, and it's completely open source. Advantage. It generates a strong unique password for each account, usually 64 or 128 characters, which is impossible to crack using our current technology. Enhanced security through encryption. It encrypts the data it stores. So even if your computer gets breached, they can't access your data without your master password. So that's the plus point. Convenient autofill for logging from. It autofills the password, so you don't have to remember this 64 or 128 character strong password. Reduced cognitive load from password management. It automatically manages your password, so you don't have to think much about it. Cross-device synchronization. You can, for example, Bitwarden generate a password file, which is encrypted file. You can copy that password file in any device and access your every password using a master password. So you can use Bitwarden in phone, Windows, or Mac, even Linux. Disadvantage. Single point of failure with the master password. If your master password is one of the strong point of password manager, as it reduces all the password into one single password. But if that password got compromised, your data could be compromised. So it's even a downside. A dependency on the service availability. There are many paid password managers, but storing data on them, if they go out of business, your data could be inaccessible. Your passwords could be inaccessible, which can put you in a difficult position. Initial step setup and learning curve. Password manager is little complicated to set up if you are not that familiar with tech, which is a downside. And there is a learning curve of using a password manager. Possible cost for advanced features. And there are potential vulnerabilities.